Welcome everyone as you start coming in.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome. This is going to be a Dominionism talk
Yep.
and
Dominionism, Christian
seven out
Reconstructionism,
mandates. Yep.
Zionism.
Reconstructionism, Zionism, and
Why to be
confront.
afraid of all that stuff?
Oh, yeah. And confronting the fact that it's here and now and
Right.
it's a part of our lives that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm Nick, and this is my good friend Lisa.
Hello.
Um, Welcome, everyone. So, Lisa, I'll let you start off because you wanted to talk on, you had some interesting
Yeah,
points right there.
I was just watching Waj Wajahad Ali, and
Hmm.
they were talking about what's going on in Israel
Yeah.
and how complicit we are in it. And I know a lot of us don't understand why in the world we are continuing down the path of allowing this to happen, because there should be no reason for us to be continuing down whoops, the path of a
No, that
I finally
happens.
found us.
Yeah.
Um, so anyhow, Zionism is a big part of this because pretty much what happens is they have a they pretty much skip the entire middle of the Bible. They've got
Yes.
Genesis for their dominion, and they've got Revelation to put all of the current events against to assure people Jesus is coming any day now. And to fulfill prophecy in scripture, the Israel has to be in their homeland.
No, not
So
just Israel. All of the Jews have to be collected in
right. If there has to
Israel.
be the homecoming. And we established that's one of the reasons they actually wanted Israel established as much as they blame it on the Holocaust. In 1948, England and the US got together and said, hey, if we want to have Jesus to come back, we need to get Israel back into Israel.
It was also the fact that nowhere else in the world wanted to take the Jewish people, to be
Correct.
totally honest. Even the US did not want to take the Jewish people.
No.
And
In fact, that
you,
one boatload that we sent back all pretty much died
mhm,
in concentration camps.
yeah.
And
Um, it took us a long time to realize that that was wrong in the US. There's a famous quote. I forget who said it exactly, but and the exact wording, and I don't have my computer with me, so I can't say it
okay.
perfectly, though, is that after America has exhausted all other options, they'll finally do the right thing.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard that. We'll
And
see.
we're sort of seeing that happen in real life is all American, all of this is like,
Guess who said that? Winston Churchill. Americans can always be counted on to do the right thing after they have exhausted all other possibilities, is attributed to Winston Churchill.
and so we have to take that in, I guess, as part of like the overall American ethos at times,
It
is
is.
we do really bad things up until
Yeah.
the last second when somebody finally knocks us on the head or we knock ourselves on the head and go, oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Um,
And we're definitely that way at the moment. Um, and Zionism actually goes back. There was actually a German Jew who actually was a big part of it. And I watched a video on him, and he was arguing to establish a homeland in Palestine back in the 1800s, and arguing that since nobody wanted the Jews, they might as well all go back to Palestine. And Britain had control of Palestine by World War II, and they apparently promised it to both groups, and then said, "That's okay, we'll just split it." And that's part of what created all of the problem. That, and of course, they promised people land that they didn't own. So you have people actually to this day in Palestine that are carrying house keys to houses that no longer exist, that they were kicked out of and promised
yes,
they could return to. And
yes.
people don't necessarily know that, especially if they are coming from a Christian viewpoint. It was kind of like, "Oh, yes, we just opened it up, they all moved in, it was wonderful." And that is so simplistic and so much of a lie. Of
Yeah.
course, anything
And
simple usually is.
yeah, and so let's come at it too is establishing upfront so we know where we're coming from our backgrounds is
Okay.
um I'm Jewish, and my family is Jewish, and I have family in Israel.
Oh,
And
awesome.
I will say this up front. What the Israeli government doing is atrocious, is
Yeah.
is literally genocide.
Yes.
They're genociding the Palestinian people and the people
Hmm.
in Gaza.
Right.
They're exterminating a group of people systematically,
Hmm.
and it's disgusting. It's hatred. It is not what I thought I would ever see come
Right.
from a group of people that said never again. Because that's
Right.
what we were taught, but that's, I guess, more of an American mythos
It
than
is
so
possibly, and
much an Israeli.
the other thing is, I think in a weird
Which
way, it
I
was
think they would
because
fix.
it's going to sound stupid, but I think it was because it was the Jewish people too. Um,
Yes.
it's going to sound still a bit because of the fact it was a religious persecution so much, and so much. I mean, there are three Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And so there's this relationship between so many other religions. Part of our scriptures are all shared.
Yes.
Um, and
And
I'm
it's a
coming.
shared promised land for all of them, for
Yes,
all
it
groups.
is.
And the hard part is when people say
Oh
ownership
God, your
and
snake,
mine. Oh yeah,
danger noodle.
danger noodle. Um, the thing with having three religions all based off of one religion is you can't claim ownership past it's it's either all of theirs or it's all of the groups or it's only one of the groups. It can't just be
Right.
it can't it can't be Jewish, Muslim, and Christian if they're going to fight about it. It can be all of theirs because they're
Right.
all Abrahamic faiths, and that's really what it is it should all be the same
Right.
promised land for people. There's someone at the door.
One of the issues in the whole thing, of course, is that the Zionists and white Christian nationalism, they want the temple rebuilt. And there are even documentaries. I watch only free documentaries because I'm poor. There are documentaries about where the temple, like maybe the temple didn't really belong on the Temple Mount. They have like alternative options for where to rebuild the temple to make Jesus come again. And it's the whole thing about what Christian nationalism is, it doesn't actually love the Jews. It wants the Jews eliminated ultimately. Has nothing
Yeah,
to do with loving Jews. It has nothing to do with being. In fact, the anti-Semitism that they yell about for being, anti-genocide is such a lie. Of course, we never thought that they were the party of pro-life anyhow.
yeah. And I think it's time we take back some monikers to so like the and I'm again I am 100% anti what the Israeli
Right.
government is doing because it's fucking disgusting. It's gross. It's hateful and it's gross and it's staining not only Israel's legacy, but it's staining the legacy of all Jewish people around the world because it's putting a target on our back.
Yeah.
It's putting a target on people's back for no fucking reason. And it's building up anti-Semitism. And that's kind of the point. Building all of this is that Christian nationalists don't like Jews. They don't
Right.
like Muslims. They don't like anybody that is not Christian nationalist. And that's a very,
Right.
very slim, narrow group of people who tend to be fairly white
Hmm.
and fairly bigoted and really shitty.
Yes.
Oh
And
yeah,
I come
Sonny.
from that
Sonny,
group.
we are talking Christian nationalism. So tonight's show is Dominionism, which
Yes.
is intimately tied into Christian nationalism because that's what they are. They are a nationalist group, and all
Hmm.
they are is about um
They're
uh,
about overthrowing the government.
they're a well, not even that, they're about destroying it because um they're a death cult. They're an apocalypse cult.
Right.
And that's their whole point is to be, be gather all the Jews into Israel,
Hmm.
all the Israelites.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So what? to gather all the Israelites into one place
Hmm.
um, and then usher in the second coming of Jesus, like you just
Right.
said. And that ushering in of the second coming of Jesus is Armageddon, at least
Correct.
in there is what they want. And they
Right.
want the apocalyptic view of Armageddon and the apocalypse, because then the kingdoms of man will fall and
And they
those who
will
are
rule with
promised
Jesus.
will be rewarded with Jesus and they will be raptured into heaven. And
Hmm.
those of us left behind will live in an apocalyptic wasteland that they have created, which, oh, by the way, doesn't need to be created because that sounds a lot like a nuclear wasteland from a nuclear war.
Right.
Um, yeah, the Seven Mountains cult is the Seven Mountain Mandate. It's also called
Right.
Seven Mountain Dominionism,
Hmm.
or the New Apostolic Reformation.
Yeah,
Um,
that's actually a group within it.
and if you want, uh, the clearest example of it is if you look up Mike Johnson,
Yeah.
and um, look up for what flag he flies outside of his office. He flies a Dominionist flag outside of his office. And so they are the ones who he's basically turned the house into the preacher's house, and
Hmm.
he's become, instead of the speaker of the house, he's now the preacher of the house. And that's exactly what dominionism wants, is to
It is.
end the separation of church and state in America, to create a theocratic breakdown, to create a system-wide breakdown, to bring about theocracy in little
Mhm.
fascist dictatorships and then kill everybody.
It's officially actually called theonomy. I'm not
Theonomy.
sure
Interesting.
what the difference is, but theonomy actually says the entire, pretty much what I was taught at one point before I left, was they wanted to have the board of deacons in churches be local law enforcement, local judges, and everything would be ruled by biblical law from the Old Testament. So you bring back stoning for mouthing off to your parents. You bring back
Such
stoning,
as
of course,
biblical divorce and marriage or
right?
covenant marriages.
Covenant marriages. And R.J. Rushdoony, who is one of their biggest writers of what they follow, he actually said there would be no real reason for divorce because any offense against the family, like adultery, sex before marriage, etc., were all for stoning. So you'd kill them, so you wouldn't need divorce anyhow. Is actually
Hmm.
was R.J. Rushdoony's point. And I sat in a pew in a Southern Baptist church, and this scares me to this day, and the person preaching advocated for this system, and he said, "The first teenager we stone will have the best behaved youth in the world," and he meant it. He
Yep.
was looking forward to throwing rocks at a kid till the kid died, and that's chilling.
Yeah. And you have to like think about, on top of it, who's in one, Mike Johnson. We're going to use him. I'm going to continue to repeat Mike Johnson's name a lot
Yeah,
because Mike Johnson is in a position of incredible power. He's second in line in the succession to the presidency if something were to happen. He's an incredible spot of power. This is Christian nationalism. We have not gotten to Catholic nationalism and
no,
Catholic dominionism yet either, because they're very similar,
they
yet they
are.
are slightly different. And JD Vance is Catholic nationalist. He's a Catholic based nationalist. And I say loosely say Catholic and I loosely say Christian because they're not really either. They're just
Right,
hate, they're just nationalist and hate groups. And maybe it's worth, no, we need to make sure that we point out the bad and the good. And I think I'm not Christian and I'm not faith based for Judaism, but I am Jewish and I do know and believe in the faith or in the practices, and I don't practice. I'm agnostic, but it's okay for me to confront that and
right.
confront the hate that's coming towards Jewish people and the hate that's coming out of Jewish people,
Yeah.
because that's my lane.
Right.
I'm not going to confront all of the Christian nationalism. We need to make sure that Christians start doing that too,
Right. And
and
Christians need to
Christian
be
faith
educated about
leaders.
it.
Yeah.
You sit there, especially if you're somebody who goes to like a United Methodist Church every Sunday or something, you don't think that there are people being told, hey, the best way to run the world is to put everybody back on the Old Testament. In fact, you're taught that the Old Testament was pointing to the Messiah. Jesus was the Messiah. He fulfilled it. We can get rid of the Old Testament law. But Christian nationalists want to put it back in force. And that's just scary. They say, "Oh, we don't want the sacrificial part because we have Jesus, but we want everything else back in there." And
It's
some
just
of
the
it was
American Taliban.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. It really is. And like I say, they skipped the whole middle of the Bible. My son's over there laughing for some reason. Why are you laughing?
American Taliban.
The American Taliban. He found that funny. Why? Because it's
Or you can call them Al Qaeda.
Al Qaeda.
Al Qaeda.
Yes.
I mean, they made a I think we talked about it last week was the caravan that they did. They
Yeah.
called it the Caravan of God or whatever that they did. They
Yeah.
named it exactly Hezbollah. Like
Hezbollah.
they named it the same as the terrorist organization
Do you
Hezbollah.
think they knew that?
They
Or do you
did.
think?
They
Oh,
did it on purpose. These groups
oh,
aren't stupid. We have to
sure.
confront the fact that like when let's say the Iran stuff
Mhm,
that happened, that's a precursor. That's a
mhm.
precursor to what they want
Right,
because that didn't start any tensions. And yeah, it sort of lowered tensions for now. But that area has been battling for years and nobody ever really
right.
stops. Um, but during those same times, they practiced the burning of like they practice parts of the prophecy to recreate the temple, which
Mhm,
means they want to do it.
right.
The problem with bringing about prophesized events
Mhm,
is one, the person who wrote prophecy down is a person and not God. And so if you believe in God, the word that comes through man is corruptible.
correct.
And the devil likes to take people's place and likes to lie and corrupt. And now
Mhm,
we're seeing what that corruption is the destruction of everything. Um, but it's all it is a power grab from them. And all they want to do is use that corruption to rewire, sort of like retrain your brain to
mhm.
think
Well, part of
bad is
part of the
right is
reason they're
wrong.
using Christianity is for that, because you sit there, I honestly I figure either they're going to go on hell on purpose because they're doing it on purpose, or they're going to go to hell because 'cause they're idiots. I'm not sure which. But the leadership, a lot of their motivation came originally from the civil rights movement, because they did not want the integration of the races, and announced that, well, they've actually used that part, the whole children of Ham thing, since slavery started.
And
But
abortion
yeah,
became
well,
their next thing.
what happened is they wanted to not have integration, and Roe v. Wade happened, and Jerry Falwell went to the GOP and said, I will preach against abortion if you will adopt an anti-abortion platform," because he wanted to be able to end up getting Liberty University so it didn't have to have black students. And so he figured if he could get, it's the whole Save the Babies thing. If he could make Save the Babies the platform, then he could get all of his parishioners to vote. And this was an organized thing. We're going to adopt abortion as our thing so we can get people to vote against their own self-interest to keep us in power.
Yeah.
And that's just absolutely cynical. It really
Yeah.
is.
So let's think about like how they implemented the tactic of using civil rights against us and abortion at the same time is because they
Mhm.
wrapped it into one is
Right.
they what is the one thing that you hear the most about abortions is, oh, black people do the most abortions or or
Mhm.
brown people of some sort, some nameless, faceless brown person or
Correct.
nameless, faceless black person, because it's easy to demonize groups if you hate them already and
Hmm.
you want to see them as lesser than you already. And we got to remember that's one of the big components of all of this is they see us as less than. We are not equal.
Authoritarianism.
If you're, yeah, they're authoritarians, the dominionists. The thing is, they want dominion. They want
Hmm.
power. Dominion is about control and rule. They want to rule over us up until the point that we are in a wasteland and they get to go by into whatever, raptured end they are. But the rapture isn't even in the Bible to be
No.
like fully, like, if you really want to
There's a
get to
there's
the
a
heart of it.
couple of passing references that they take and expand wildly to create the rapture, and even there's arguments that
Even
heaven and
hell.
hell were created at full cloth over the years because people were like, well, what happens when we die? It's not fair that all of those bad people don't get anything.
Hmm.
And so we created hell just because we felt that life was unfair, and it is unfair, unfortunately. Um, what's interesting, though, is we need to equip people, and one of the things that actually helps with the whole dominionism and so forth is understanding where they are actually making scripture wrong. Like what they're doing with immigrants is actually totally against scripture in the Old Testament and the New Testament, because you are told to protect the alien, and that's the immigrants.
Love thy neighbor, right?
Right, love thy neighbors, and the easiest, in fact, they asked Jesus to summarize everything. He said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself." That he said you can that summarizes the entire Bible right there, and it's definitely not what is happening in our country currently.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And if you want to think about it too, on that is like the whole idea, like they brought their idea is that, um, because what was it, the Lord's Prayer ends sort of about like, do we need a little bit? I'm
okay,
very
Lord's Prayer.
unversed with the Bible
Okay,
itself
our
because I
Father
thought it was joking.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses or debts, as we forgive those who trespass or our debtors against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and glory forever and ever. Amen. And part of that was actually added by the Catholic Church and is not in scripture, believe it
And
or not.
so, and even worse is the Dominionists basically stop after that first couple sentence of
Hmm.
"Thy will be done" and "Lord dominion of all everybody as it is on heaven and earth." That's what they
Right.
want. They want a theocratic dominion over everything because, well, they want their theocratic dominion over everything, which is just a patriarchal power grab.
Right.
Um, but what they're doing to do it is they're infiltrating um, and corrupting our services in our society in America, and it's a
Right.
purposeful attack
It is.
on things that we're accustomed to and used to, and we got to talk about that later. Maybe
Yeah.
not today, but there's a lot that they're doing, especially around media and retraining and indoctrination there. But I'd rather stay on the topic that we were getting into a little bit about is Zionism,
Zionism, yeah.
um, because we really do have to talk about Israel. We have
Yeah.
to talk about what's going on there.
Yeah, we do.
And we
'Cause
have to talk about the fact that we're also doing it here. We're
right.
also doing it in America. We are preparing to systematically
We're
exterminate
ethnically
brown people.
cleansing. We are
We are,
ethnically cleansing the United States. If
yes,
they
we
are
are
not white,
cleansing
they're
anybody
gone.
not white, not Christian, and
Right.
not Christian nationalists. Not, it's a very
Right.
specific Christian, and
They do
it's
not
going to get
like
smaller and smaller.
liberal Christians don't count as Christians. Christians that accept LGBTQ don't count as Christians. Um,
James
yeah, we
Tallarico out of
know.
Texas, who is a very, very good example of what a good Christian
Yeah.
is, what a man of faith who believes in Christianity and the teachings of Christianity, he's
Hmm.
that man. He
Yeah.
believes in Christianity just like Jimmy Carter, um, President Carter did. Like
Hmm.
that was a man of faith. He believed it and he
President
lived
Carter
it.
was a Baptist, believe it or not, but his Baptist church actually affirmed LGBTQ. And of course, the man did Habitat for Humanity till practically till his death.
Basically founded Habitat for Humanity and
And he was
was
still building
Habitat.
houses
He was
forever.
Habitat for Humanity.
He was. And they've tried to kind of mar that already. They've tried to make whispers about what a bad guy he was, and they've actually taken away some of the grants. He had grants to build houses for like
They
marginalized
did
people, and they
for
they actually
veterans too.
yeah, they took all those grants away. And they're like, "Yo, he's too woke. We can't do his grants. We can't let those people have houses." And it's
Mhm.
interesting because one of the things that happens when they
It
take
was
away
so before we go on, they took
okay,
away those grants and they wanted to make people house homeless. And now there's an executive order
executive
out to
order.
criminalize homelessness,
Right.
which if people don't know, a majority of the homeless population in the United States are veterans. They are
Mhm.
Vietnam era veterans and they're post 9/11 veterans who came home and had PTSD and were either spit upon or told that what they did was a lie and they couldn't take it, or their friends died. I've
Right?
had friends die since coming home. I've had multiple friends die since I came home from Afghanistan. I
Yeah.
served in the army. I went over to Afghanistan, um, and I'm lucky compared to people who I
Mhm.
know and others who served. Like it's a systematic wipeout, but what they're leading back into it, this is all tied into the nationalism.
Mhm.
They
But
need a
it's soft eugenics
workforce. No,
too.
no. This part is not about eugenics. Well, it
Oh,
is. It's all eugenics. All of it's eugenics. But at
there
this part, they're not trying to get rid of uh, others in terms of brown or the foreigner others. They're trying to clear the vagrants and
correct.
the homeless, and the vagrants and the homeless create a work population because they're not accounted for in many ways, and they
And
almost become free or slave labor.
well, what they do when they put them in institutions, at least at what they're doing for prisons and so forth, is they pay you $1 a day for work above your actual they're like, "The rest is your room and board, you get a buck." And then they charge you $1 or they charge you $5 for a phone call. So
Yeah,
you literally work all week to get one phone call to your family.
yes,
And they are looking forward because they can make so much money. They're looking forward to renting people to the farms to get an income from them and then paying them $1 a day for going out to work on the farms.
yes,
It's one of the possibilities that are out there right now, and they have a legal framework to work it.
yes.
And another
And
thing
all of this ties back into the Dominions. Sorry to cut you off, Lisa. All this ties
oh,
back
okay,
into
cool.
the Dominionists because they're the ones who own the companies that are pushing these things. They're the
Yeah,
ones who are behind the scenes who are actually paying for all of it.
yeah.
It's the Leonard Leos of the world. It's the
Well, yeah, and Peter Thiel and the other guy may not be all that Christian, but they're using the system because
JD
it
Vance
pays
wasn't a Catholic until 2 years ago.
right, because it's all about looking the part to control people. I don't think the people at the highest part actually believe any of it. They just found a way to get a very large part of the population and manipulate it. And what bothers me and makes me so upset is the books of from R.J. Rushdoony started in late '60s and early '70s, and Jerry Falwell in the Moral Majority is in the mid '70s. They have been working this plan from then.
Hmm.
They have been putting people into places and working to create this substructure, and we've been well, I was actually told there have been people aware of it, but we have done nothing for it until we've gotten to this crisis point. And one of the things is the gerrymandering is so bad, we have to find a way to activate as many people as possible to vote Because right now there's the disaffected voters, like a certain one sitting over in the corner here, said it isn't worth voting because I'm in a gerrymandered state. No one's going to notice me anyhow. But
Yes.
if we get all those people and say, look, there are 80,000 of you in this state, and if we add you all in, we can actually throw over the red to blue. We have to give people the hope and the education to know that we can actually still take this back, as long as they
Yeah.
don't, somehow mess up with the elections behind the scenes. We have the people. We just need to educate them and get them there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
on Zionism, since that's where we were supposed to be going back.
Oh, no, that's totally fine. End of that conversation. Participate, vote. It's important.
It is.
It's super important. I was talking with Tim Fullerton and Frederick Pogue earlier today, and Fred gave a story about there was a race that they could have won by 64 votes. They lost by 64 votes. Every vote
64.
counts. Every vote counts. Okay, so before we go on, because we were talking about prison stuff, and Suzanne brought up thank you for that comment about the 13th Amendment, is yes.
Right.
Basically, we shifted slavery
Into the
from
prison system.
legalized on the fields to prisons. And then we
And
created a system where the prior slave owners were the prison owners, and that has continued into what we have now. And it's a for-profit system, so which is why you see people who are so in with the prison system who are running DHS or who are running these services, because it's all about making money for them.
Right.
It's all about how much it's about how much money they can make off of a human with the least amount of return to that human.
Right.
And because in their eyes, we're a data point. It's efficiency. As long as it benefits them, it doesn't matter about us. We're just a piece of efficiency for them. And
Right.
so they want us in. It's like the kid who's running in California who took a picture outside of Auschwitz and said, with his hand up, pointing at it, and said like 0% unemployment. Like, yeah, fuckhead. Of course there is, because they murdered all those people because it was a death camp. But that's
In
what
fact,
they
they
want.
worked them to death.
That's what they want. They want
Yeah.
death camps and work camps here. I've already said it.
And what's really sad about that is that the more people you have, the bigger your economy grows. We're actually cutting ourselves off at the knees with what we're doing right now.
Yes.
And that's not good either. But back to
going back to Zionism, and it all wraps in because Peter Thiel is involved with this, and Curtis Yarvin are involved in this.
Yes.
And if we want to talk about Zionism, we have to talk about Stephen Miller, who's a garbage piece of shit human being.
And a
I
Jew.
hope yes, he's Jewish.
I don't understand that part.
I don't. He embodies self-hatred in a way that is just, he's not Jewish. He is a nationalist. He's a white nationalist who calls himself Jewish. It's just like Bibi Netanyahu is a white nationalist who calls himself Jewish too, because he wants a white ethno state, basically, Jewish ethno state. And the only way you get to an ethno state is through genocide. Like, you can't get rid of everybody unless you genocide them or push them all out. Yes, he is creepy incarnate. Yeah, Peter Thiel is gross as shit. So is Yarvin. All of them. They're all frightening and gross. It's the PayPal mafia. But they all tie into the Seven Mountain Mandate and Zionism, because it's all about a push to start a war in Israel, which is why Bibi is doing what he's doing, I think, and why they're not stopping. They want a war to start, because now you can see other countries in UN or in NATO who have officially recognized Palestine as a nation.
The 26 of
in,
them.
and I think France just did it. Spain, I
France is
believe,
doing
is
it in
on there.
September.
And they're doing it without our permission, and they're doing it without consulting us in any way. And that should scare the shit out of Americans because that means we're not relevant in any way,
Right.
or we're the bad guy. And they don't want to do it with us because they know that we're the bad guy. And I think we have to accept the fact that right now our nation is the bad guy, but we don't have to be.
Right.
Our people don't have to be the bad guys. We're the good people, and that's what we're trying to show and do right now is show that the nationalism isn't Christianity. It's
It is
not
not.
Catholicism. It's not Judaism. It's not Islam, or it's not any of them. It is nationalist. It's hate. It's bigotry.
Right.
And that's all it is.
And
So let's talk Zionism a
demonizing
little.
the poor is part of how they get there. Demonizing everybody who's not part. Um, what's really fascinating is one of the authors later on was Francis Schaeffer, and his son actually became an atheist before he was finished. But anyhow, there's a Muslim and a Jewish group that have come together to both call out what's going on and say, look, if we can agree that this is wrong, then we should all agree to stop it. And we're not
Yes.
there. Um, and that's a really frustrating thing that we actually have Jews and Muslims coming together. We have Christians, we have students, and everybody's saying this is wrong. And we have there was somebody just the other day who actually defended this whenever they were talking about the fact that Gaza's been obliterated. They're like, "Well, don't you remember what they did, when back in October of 2 years ago now? Year
October
and a half ago?"
7th, it was, right?
Yeah.
I think.
And they're like
And
they're
so here's the thing is like, I was so mad that day when it happened. I was so mad.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm an American Jew.
Right.
And I have family there and I was mad about it, but I was also smart enough to go, oh, they shouldn't go further. They should do what they need to
Right.
kill and stop the insurgency from happening again. And that's it. Biden was right. They should not have gone further, but they did. And they're continuing to go further now. I do not support Hamas in any way, shape, or form. Just so any right wing troll who wants to possibly in the future use this, I do not support Hamas in any way, shape, or form. I do not support the systematic murder and genocide of a group of people either, which
Right.
means I do not support Israel's actions genociding the people of Palestine.
Correct.
They are making Hamas worse because they have told these people that they were going to find safety and shelter, and then they murdered them. And then they went in and they killed them. And then they told them go somewhere else. That is called genocide. And we have to call it what it is. And we need American politicians to
Mhm.
do that too, because that is anti-Zionist in the way that they are using it, in the way that nationalists want Zionism to be, in the way that they want it to be as hate and death and slaughter. We
And
need to collectively stop that. And if your politician's blue and a Democrat, hey, call them. Tell them that you do
Boomer,
not support that shit.
Cory Booker, and another one all had their
And
picture
hospitals and
taken
schools.
with Bibi Netanyahu when he
Smiling.
visited
He's a
this past.
fucking murderer.
They had
He's
their picture
wanted.
taken with them
Yeah,
last visit.
he has a court um or
Yeah,
arrest
International
warrant
Criminal
out for
Court
the
warrant.
yeah, for
In fact,
ICC.
Mamdani actually said if he ever sets foot in New York, he'll actually arrest him for them
He
if he's
should.
mayor. But what
He should
happens?
because that's the right thing to do.
Well, the United States.
I hope the US gets some too at some point because they need to be arrested for crimes against humanity here.
Yeah, and the thing is we signed on to the declaration for the ICC under Clinton, and then Bush took office and immediately denied it. And we have never fully signed on because we know we commit war crimes, and we don't want to ever be accountable for them.
So we also need to let's just be fair. The US also never really signed on to the Geneva Convention either. We wrote it, but we never really signed it. We sort of agree to it and we hold by it. But the thing is that um, the the US only does things by norms and like is like, yeah, sure, we'll do it because it's okay to do and we don't want to be the bad guys, but we don't follow the rules very
No,
often. And
no.
you can tell, and I was listening to Melissa Corrigan talk about this earlier. You don't follow her stuff, you should. She's really smart. And
Mhm,
she's got a lot of good stuff to say, but she put a really heartfelt and impactful message out the other day about the UN and about
mhm.
how they're watching and letting this all happen.
Right.
And their whole mandate was to stop this, was
Mhm.
literally like the whole mandate after World War II when we founded all of this was
Right.
to prevent this from ever happening again. And they're gaslighting us into believing that there's nothing they can do about it and that there's no way they can stop it and that it's just gonna happen and it's okay because this time it's from a Western country that we don't hate. But
Well, there have been other genocides since World War II that they haven't stopped too. Like,
yeah,
In Serbia, there was one,
there's been many.
and they've never, and part of it was we didn't back them up to stop them. And
The
now
thing
as
is, the
soon
UN should stop caring what the US has to say and start
oh,
doing something.
yeah,
Like,
um,
we're the bad guy right now, the UN to the UN. Like, UN, guys, we deserve peacekeepers in our country at some point. We have
we
death
do.
camps. We have death camps, and the UN isn't fucking doing or saying anything about it.
Mhm. I,
Why?
um, I asked somebody from Australia, I'm like, "Why have you guys not said anything we're doing is wrong here?" And they're like, "Well, we're worrying about trying to protect ourselves from you, and we figure you guys voted for this, so this is your problem," is pretty
But it's
much
the
what I was.
world's problem.
Yeah.
Because
It
if we turn into a Christian theocracy that is hell bent on bringing about Armageddon, sorry, I'm going to move a little so I'm not quite so
yeah, you
brightly
look
lit in
hot.
the face. Um, Now I'm under the fan a little bit better.
Oh, good.
Um, and Ellie, if you're still here, I will explain the snake a little bit. Because I saw your post from earlier on the chat. But it's all about if we the that's the problem is the US isn't getting any international pushback because they're all like, oh well, you voted for this. Well, Germany voted in Hitler too,
Yes.
and he then destroyed their country and started a genocide, and we had to go to World War because of it.
Yeah, Rwanda
And
going.
Rwanda and all of it, all of these, a lot of these wars that have started have been because of genocide, because somebody
Mhm.
was genociding somebody else. And you know what? We have no leg to stand on anymore as a country until we tell Israel to stop what they're doing on the indiscriminate killing of people in Gaza and stop
Well,
funding it. We don't stop their defense. I
mm-mm.
am not against protecting Israel. I want Israel to remain as a country. I love Israel. I love the people from Israel. I have family in Israel. Like
Right.
I'm not going to want my one, I don't want my family fucking wiped off the planet. Like why would I want that? Also, why would I want one of the second largest Jewish population in the world outside of the US to get wiped off the map? Like
Right.
that's the Holocaust all over again. We don't
Mhm.
want that. We don't want to be the ones doing it either. And the
Correct.
US has the choice to say, hey, Israel, we won't give you any money or any weapons for any of these systems that you're using. And if you use any of our stuff for it, You're done. We have that power because Israel is a client state of the United States. They are
Right.
not an independent nation of us. We own them,
Hmm.
literally own them. They are a client nation to us.
They
We have all the power. Bibi can fucking suck it because he doesn't have any power. The Zionists are giving him power. And
right.
that's where really, I know we've gotten a little, it feels like we've
Oh
gotten a
no, you're
little off
great.
topic, but we're not because it's Zionism. It's
It is.
all about generating hate, and the
Mm-hmm.
UN isn't stopping it because what's the next step after generating that hate?
It's getting rid
Is
of all the Jews.
revelations.
Yeah.
Is revelations. Is they want to bring about that point. They
Right.
want to get us to the point where a nuclear winter and a nuclear holocaust
Mhm.
happens because that is revelations. That is the ascension. That is them going to heaven and ascending and leaving the rest of us in hell. That's the whole point.
As a
Is
little,
those of us who don't go aren't going to be happy here on earth, live
no.
in our happy dreams. They want us miserable as shit until the day we die. I would rather us let them apparate away from us, to use a bigot's term, because whatever her face, J.K. Rowling is a bigot, but apparate is a good word.
Hmm.
Um, they can apparate themselves up into their own heaven and leave the rest of us alone if they want to, but don't destroy the planet on the way out.
Right. One of the things that growing up in fundamentalist Christianity, like I did,
Hmm.
especially in the 70s, they took, and the thing is, it made me decide that prophecy must be really hard because it never made sense. But they would sit there and they'd take current events and throw them into Revelation and say, well, the bear today is Russia and this is Iran and da 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 da. And they, I would like be like, it that doesn't make sense. And they'd say, and because this is all happening, Jesus is coming in 3 weeks. And, they wouldn't let you leave. They'd have altar call. And it would either end when the pastor got too hungry or when someone finally gave up and came forward. And sometimes you'd go forward just to get him to shut up so you could go home. I mean, really. And
It so coming from that world, how many like end of the world things have you lived through? Because we've all lived
oh
through a
my
lot of what would be
goodness.
considered end of world events by these people.
Yeah, well, let's see.
But on the
The really big
inside,
ones were like the Iran hostage situation. I remember that being a really big thing. Of course, they got in on the millennial thing on 99 to 2000. Um, oh goodness, the
oh, for
Iraq War
Y2K,
number 1, Iraq War number 2, 2012. Jimmy says, well, that was more of a Mayan thing. That wasn't.
yeah, that was the Mayan
Um,
end of the Mayan calendar. They
but
tried to wrap it into prophecy too.
oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
I remember that, like, they were like, oh, yeah, this somehow fits into Jesus's plan to,
right,
end of all of things.
exactly. And part of it and what's so disingenuous about the whole thing is they want to create the fear because they want to have the converts and then they want to get you sucked in. And one thing is a fleecing thing. They want 10% of your income for the rest of your life. But they also want to control what you're doing. And these fundamentalist churches have been working towards this end, towards creating Zion, towards the end of days. And one of the things that I always found frustrating was if God was supposed to be all powerful, why did people have to do all this work for him? And it's one of the first questions you can ask somebody who's in that cult. Why do you guys have to do all of God's work for him if he's powerful? And then just leave them with the question. Don't have to answer it for them. Just let them think on it for a while. Let it percolate through their head. Well, wait a second. Is God powerful or not? Why do I have to take over the world, take over the entire United States, put Israel in there, make sure they got their temple built? Why do I have to do all that for God if God's powerful? Then
Yeah.
just leave them
And
with it.
and why do you have to use the shittiest people as vessels to do your work? Like if you're an omnipotent God, Why are you using a pedophile,
Right.
convicted rapist, philanderer in bullshit, and what else was it?
Let's see, he was
Oh,
bankrupt. He's pretty much
fraudster,
a thief, fraud.
fraudster,
Yeah.
convicted fraudster. Why, if God is omnipotent, why is he using that guy? Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't he use, like, Mark Cuban would be, as my dogs throw my phone on the ground. Mark Mark Cuban would have been a better choice,
Oh
like,
yeah.
to be honest. Like, if God is omnipotent, why use the shittiest people in the world? Wouldn't you use the people that you would want to most represent? Or
Hmm.
is it because you want to show like that they're most repentant? But that's again a thing of
No, he's not
control. Like,
repentant though.
he's not repentant in any way. Donald Trump never says sorry, and he's even openly said why that he said multiple times, if I when I die, if I were to go to heaven, why would I ask for forgiveness? I've never done anything wrong. He
Right.
doesn't think he's done anything wrong because he thinks he is God, because he
Hmm.
has a God complex.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been pounded into his head that he is like God or a Messiah of some sort by the
Hmm.
Christian nationalists and by the Dominionists that are around him and by the Zionists, such as Stephen Miller or Russell Vaught around
I
him,
I think that
or his faith leader.
Trump's arrogance is so bad. He's everybody's convenient idiot. And everybody's
Yes.
always just trying to wind him up and push him where they want him to be. And I don't think he even realizes it. And I think that
I don't
the
think he
MAGA
cares.
cult, well, that's probably true too. But because as long as he's getting money, as long as he's fleecing people for money, he doesn't care what's
Hmm.
going on around him.
As long as Trump makes money, that's all that
Mhm.
matters. It doesn't matter if
Right.
his kids make money, but as long as Trump makes money, it's all that
Yeah.
matters.
And what happens is they got the MAGA people, they've got them all corralled in to support them, and then they get Trump to be their figurehead while they work behind the scenes to get what they want out of all this. And people don't realize that that's the one really scary thing is people go, well, when Trump's gone, this is all going to fall apart. This has been going on since the 1960s at least. They aren't going to give up just because Trump dies. That's not
No,
happening. So
no.
we need to be aware. We need to understand what's going on and organize and vote these people out of office and regain control of our country because they have very bad plans for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think an understatement. You can see that in the voting act that they wanted to try and push through.
Hmm.
That was supposed to, like, I think it was called the Save Act or something.
Yeah,
What
they're
it
still
would have
working on doing
They're
that.
still working on it, and that's going to disenfranchise literally every woman who has changed her last name, or
Yeah,
every man who's changed their last name, or every transgender person, or any person who's ever changed their last name
they're
from
going
what it
to have
was on
all
your
the
birth
paperwork
certificate.
certified. And the other option is I've already been researching this because I'm someone who's gotten married too many times and in multiple states. And I am best off investment wise to buy a passport card. It'll cost me at least $65 plus a certified copy of my birth certificate and a certified copy of my license and a picture to give to the post office when I put in the application and finish it.
So, what happened to the constitutional guarantee that your voting rights shall not be infringed?
They're protecting us from.
No,
Oh, I know.
no. I mean,
It's
I don't buy
against
that bullshit.
our con.
And that's the thing
Right.
is we really need to start talking about that really loudly. Is
Yeah.
all of this is, again, all of it's tied together. It's all a plan. Project
Mhm.
2025 is the Christian nationalist playbook to take over America, turn it into a theocratic state, and
Right.
destroy the world through genocide and make Israel genocide the rest of Palestine or
Mhm.
the Palestinians, so that the UN then has to step in, which then causes us to break from NATO. There is a plan to break from NATO.
Yeah.
I'm not making any of this up. I'm not fear mongering. It's all fucking written down in their document. They gave
Project
us the playbook.
2025.
People didn't want to believe them. Project 2025 is exactly what they're doing.
Mhm.
If you ask them, Russell Vought said they were 55% of the way through. their
Yeah.
plan. They gave themselves a 1 year timeline to implement Project 2025. They're on a timeline to do it faster than that. What it takes, so they wanted to be done by 2026. What that means is we need to be the most active right now and the most
Right.
vigilant right now and the most prepared right now. So I say that I've been saying this a lot in every show is go visit runforsomething.net, runforsomething.net. I will post it. I pretty much post it now on all of the videos. Thank you, Lisa. Even if you're not going to run for an office, sign up, learn, train, get trained to run for an office so that if your friend wants to run, or if you decide, oh shit, I really do want to do this, go run for school board, go run for state house, go run for state senate, go run for dog catcher, go run for sheriff if you're qualified. If you're qualified for a role, go run for it. Do not leave a single seat or a single race unchallenged. If you're in a blue district and your representatives kind of aren't doing shit to stop nationalism, like vote them the fuck out.
Right.
Have somebody come in, be that somebody, be a Cat Abigazela and go into a race and open up food pantries and do things for your community and show people you care and why they should vote for you and why they want you to represent them. But don't do it up front asking them to vote for you. Just do it because it's the right thing and then introduce yourself as a person who might be interested or who is running.
Be
Talk
the
to them, get
change.
to know somebody. Yeah, be
Right.
the change.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Your acronym the other day.
RISE. So I brought up an acronym. It's that I'm trying to get out there now. It's RISE. It is Restoring Integrity, Service, and Ethics. And it's all about civically minded engagement through meaningful and purposeful steps to restore integrity, service, and ethics in both the American moral system and the American civic system, because we've lost it in both. And we need to tackle it from a moral perspective because we lost the right. We lost the moral war on the right up to this point. We've
Yeah.
had 40 years to get where we are.
Mm-hmm.
We have 6 months. So hurry the fuck up and do something, people. Like I'm not mad at you, but hurry up and do something.
It
Go
is
out
urgent.
there. Go out there and I'm urgent. Go out and do something because it's important and it's needed. And if you don't, who will? When they came for the Jews, you didn't say anything. When they came for you, nobody was left.
Niemöller.
And so, Kimmy, you're saying please run for something here. You have my vote. I'm in the early stages of looking into it. I'm doing what I'm saying is I'm practicing what I'm preaching is I've signed up for the runforsomething.net. I've contacted the state party and the county party for my area, and shown interest to run for a state seat, and a state house seat. And I've shown interest because nobody else is going to run for that seat other than some Republican and some MAGA guy. And guess what? In all of the shitty news that came out of the election this past cycle, Arkansas Democrats picked up 1 seat in the House, in
Oh.
our House. 1 seat we picked up. We have not done that in like 20 fucking years. Like the Democrats in Arkansas picked up a seat, y'all. If we pick up more, we break the supermajority. We don't need very many in the Arkansas State Senate to break the supermajority.
Right.
That's the important things that need to get broken are the state houses because that's where we're seeing the worst happen. And Tim Fullerton said it really well today is we've lived through Republicans destroying states and been like, oh, it's okay. It's just the states. But we've never lived through them taking that same mentality and then destroying the country. They're doing that. They're running the country like they do red states where they don't give a shit about us. And they just, they want fear and they want or and I use the acronym RISE because let's be honest, MAGA is an effective acronym. It sounds a lot like mega, it's big, it's branding. The left is shitty at acronyms. But you know what we need to be doing? We need to be action focused and civically minded, but it's all about acting and action. And what's something that we can do that they can't in this time because they're loud and obnoxious already is we can rise and be Americans together. We can
I
rise
put it
as
in
one
typing.
and say no.
Right.
We can, and it's so powerful to just to be someone and then I put it in there is it's an action is restoring. We're
Absolutely.
taking back the America. We're taking back
Hmm.
patriotism. We're taking back Christianity. For those
Right.
who are Christian, you can take back Catholicism. If you're Catholic,
Hmm.
you can take back Judaism and true Zionism. If you're
Hmm.
Jewish, you can take back Islam. If you're Islamic, you can take back your religions and your beliefs and the beauties in them and the teachings that they are by restoring integrity, service, and ethics. I think it works for all of them because they're all integrity based. You have to have integrity. You
Yes.
have to serve. Holding an office is about service. It's serving. That's why so many
And
veterans go in because it's service after service.
right.
And then you have to be ethical.
And the other thing is if you don't run, you have to be willing to actually follow up with your representatives. One thing we have done is we've gotten to the point where we think, okay, all the money runs everything, so we don't have any power. There are more of us than there are billionaires.
Mhm.
So all we need to do is get everybody to say, no, I don't want the billionaires running my country anymore. And then we have the power back. So we have to be able to go to our representatives and go, I want this fixed. I'm behind you, and let them know we're going to sit here and we're going to lobby for you. We're going to be behind you. And if they don't do it, we're going to not put them back out of office. They aren't going to get another term. They
And
need to understand that we have that power again.
yes, and on top of all of that, especially those of us who are in red areas, and like I'm going to use my platform, is House representative in DC is Steve Womack, and he voted to gut every single service and program in our area. And when hospitals close, I'm going to encourage, and I'll probably be out there when clinics and hospitals start closing. I'm going to put signs out there that said, Steve Womack, Tom Cotton, this is your fault.
Right.
You did this because they did it. They need to be reminded loudly and in their faces that they're the ones who are doing this, that are making decisions that are killing people on purpose. So there was an interesting statement back. Thank you, Suzanne, for putting in. There's a little bit of news um,
PJ,
from
we're actually,
Reuters.
hmm,
Oh, go ahead, Lisa.
PJ, we're going to actually have Tim Whitaker on in a middle of the day program next week. So we were aware of Tim, and actually we have him invited to come with us.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to meet Tim and get to speak with him. So Suzanne put up a really interesting, really good note from Reuters that federal employees may discuss and promote their religious beliefs in the workplace.
Oh
The Trump
no.
administration said on Monday, citing religious freedoms protected by the U.S. Constitution. So the one of the things that um, the far right likes to believe in is because we have the separations clause, and in
Hmm.
freedom of speech there is freedom of speech and
Religion,
um
press,
religion, press,
assembly.
and yada yada yada, and you cannot, and they like to argue, there's a certain point they like to argue on all of it, that because it's religious in nature you can't um make it illegal in any way. You have to allow it. You have to,
Right.
but you can't promote. But the thing is, The U.S. also, the government of the United States cannot provide favor to a religion. We cannot
Correct.
establish, we have an establishment clause. We cannot establish a state
State
religion
religion.
because if you establish a state religion, you cannot have a pluralistic democracy that is for all religions. And that's what separates the US from basically every other democracy in the world is we are a non-religious based democracy. Our documents are founded in humanism and deism and not in religion. Yes, there are some religious connotations in there. Of course there are. There was the times. But it's not a religious document. There is a wall of separation, and dominionism has broken that wall down over the last 40 years. Every time that the Supreme Court rules where religious freedom allows for you don't have to get a vaccine, or you can discriminate against gay people and not
Mhm.
make them wedding cakes, but sure as God can't ask a straight couple to make a gay person a wedding cake or a religious person on a fake website because, that's discrimination somehow against religion. The thing is, you're not being discriminated, Christians. You're not. I'm
Right.
sorry. I hate to break it to you, but this isn't discrimination. Discrimination isn't people asking for equality and equity. Discrimination is what you do when you tell the rest of us that we have to fucking follow your rules and
Right.
do everything you do. So I want to get to Suzanne's point because this is a really important one, and this affects me personally, is because this has also been instituted at the VA.
Yes.
And what it is doing is it's pushing out anyone who does not align with their system of belief so that they can push the sentiments of, oh, you're single and you're pregnant. Well, we're just going to deny you care, like they
Mhm.
did to that girl, that young woman
There's been 2 states
in.
now where that happened. I think that first one was in, like, North Carolina, and she ended up
Mm,
going up to Virginia, and I don't remember the other one was in a different state, but there's a second state now that's done the same thing. Um,
and And they're going to do that at the VA is if you're a Democrat or say,
yeah,
I'm not Zionist enough
right.
for that Christian who wants or whoever it is who's doing my stuff, or I look too gay that day, or what have you. I don't wear my wedding ring and they go, oh, you're not married. We're gonna just assume you're
The
single. They are
the
going
other
to
one is
discriminate
Tennessee.
against people. They're going
Yeah,
to discriminate against veterans very soon. And I know that because they've already established it in the policies. They're doing
right.
it in the government to purge non fascists out of the
Right.
government, just like Hitler did to
Mhm.
consolidate power. Because once everybody's under your control, it's easy for them to just say, yes, sir, no, sir, here you go, sir, until
Right.
somebody goes, well, we don't need you, sir, anymore. We'll just move on to the next,
Mhm.
which is what they're doing. And that's where we have to be very careful because that's where JD Vance and Peter Thiel and Curtis Yarvin and all of the others come into play because they have no humanity. They don't believe in Christianity or
Right.
Catholicism. They're using it as a vehicle
Mhm.
to take power and create an ethno state or a fascist state where they're the ones in control. They're just using Christianity as a lever.
Right. We've, gone over, so you wanna explain the
Yep.
snake a little? And
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
chapter 7.
Yeah. Hey friends, this is everyone. This is Bucky.
Should we go see the snake?
He he is a ball python. Um, he's very pretty. Um, he is our Slither soldier. Um, as to why his name is Bucky, the Slither Soldier Barnes.
Aw,
Um,
pretty.
and he's about a year old, little older. He's supposed to get bigger. So he's
Yeah.
supposed to probably get about another foot-ish longer than he is now. But not too much wider. Um, and he is a beautiful little creature. He's fun.
He is. Very pretty.
Um, and so let's close our show out tonight. As we always do on a positive, as I always try to do on a positive note,
Mhm.
is go out and be the light in your communities. Um, go help people, go do something small, open a book group, open up a group, open the space for others to participate in democracy too. If
Mhm.
you're like me, or if you have the privilege, use it to open the space for others to participate in democracy, because democracy is a communal sport and we have
Right.
shitty players on the team right now. Let's vote them out so that we can get the good players on the field. And those good players start local. You have to
Yep.
start in the minor leagues if you want to be good in the professionals, unless you're like a Magic. Um, but in the end, be the light, be great to everybody else, be the best self you can. I'll plug myself real quick. Come, if you haven't already subscribed, come subscribe to me on Sick of This Shit with Nick. I have a new, nope, that one. I have a new set of shows that I'm doing on the regular, called the Sick of This Show. I'm starting to try and figure out some tongue twister. And then we have the Sick of This Pod, which is the poetry pod, um, which we will be having a special guest on the poetry pod here soon. I'm not ready to announce yet. But we're going to be having a special first time guest on the audio pod. Um, and we're running a sale right now, 80% off our monthly and annual subscription. So $1 a month or a year. Or if you want a commissioned poem, become a founding member for $200 a year. And I would greatly appreciate it. But you also get great poetry out of it. I'll plug myself like that. And then I'm going to hand it over to Lisa, my good friend, who you should also subscribe to because she's amazing.
Well, thank you. I have not started a special yet. I have been considering maybe doing an evening thing. So if you guys want an evening cast with just me, kind of let me know. If you haven't subscribed right now, there is no paywall. So if you go for a free subscription, you're going to see everything anyhow. And I'm happy to have hosted you guys, and we're going to be back on Thursday, and we're probably going to aim, Nick and I are talking about doing it a little bit earlier during the day.
Yep.
So that's kind of where we're at, but we're going to try to keep seeing you guys Tuesdays and Thursdays for right now. So I
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Look forward to seeing everyone. And
Bye.
thank you. Thank you all for being
Thank you
so
for
wonderful
coming.
in the chat. And thanks for coming, everyone. See you on Thursday.
Yep.
Bye now.